Hi guys, welcome back to Grid Gym. We have Lauren Pak with us here today, and I'm really excited because Lauren's actually pretty accomplished in the powerlifting and well known in the powerlifting and strength and conditioning and fitness community, especially on social media, and has her own gym. Where are you located at now? You're out on the East Coast, I know that, but I don't remember the exact location.
Yeah, it's Somerville, Mass, which is right outside of Boston.
So it's Boston. It's anybody from Iowa, that's Boston. We were talking to Tony Gentilcore here. I was like, dude, you're in Boston, right? He's like, for almost everybody, it's Boston. But so Lauren, how'd you get started in strength and conditioning? Why'd you get started? Can you kind of go into that? Just being a female in the strength and conditioning space isn't exactly the easiest thing in the world, or hasn't been. Now it is. Over the last 5 years, it's totally changed. But like 15 years ago, it was not even close to what it is now. So how did you get started? When did you get started? Why did you get started?
Yeah, so I was in college when I started, and I was actually studying journalism. So I was not planning on this being my career. And Jason, my husband now, was my best friend at the time, and he started working at a gym.
Weird how that works out.
Yeah. I mean, he likes to claim that he's the first person to ever break out of the friend zone. I don't know if that's true.
Nice.
But he got a job at a Boston Sports Club, which is just a big chain gym in Boston. New York Sports Club, Washington Sports Club are all associated. And he said that they were actually looking for female trainers. And he was like, they're having a hard time finding female trainers, and we always worked out together. So he was like, oh, I think you would actually like it. And so I was like, sure. The interview process was like, what do you do for your own workouts? And I was like, I like rattled off some stuff, and I had already been lifting a little bit. And so they were like, great, you're hired.
Yeah. That sounds like they gave you the job on the spot. Oh, you're a girl, you applied? Deal, yay.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. I was like, okay. And then, of course, like I've always kind of been a little bit of an overachiever. So I was very much like, well, if this is going to be, like, this isn't just going to be a summer job, like I'm going to do everything I can to be the best trainer that I can be. And so Jason and I sort of started right away going to Perform Better summits, and we would go to Cressy's, and we were really lucky to be so close to Cressy's and Boyles. So we would go there and just observe and read every book we could come up with. And we just really immersed ourselves in it to the point where I was finishing up my journalism degree, and I considered changing majors, and I was so close to the end that I was like, I can't afford another 3 years of college. So I graduated with a journalism degree, but I continued to train all the way through college.
Yeah, well, like just doing the things that you did do, that came out funny, but doing the things that, like, going to the places of like high level experts, masters in strength and conditioning, and going to their businesses, seeing what they do, seeing how they train, reading the books. Probably, I would imagine you probably got a better education from that than you would have gotten had you switched majors, gone back, done a bunch of other stuff.
I missed out on 3 years of the practical stuff that we actually got to see happening live. So
yeah, totally. And that stuff, I think people underplay that in the training. Like for what we do, I think people really play that down. Like the practical aspect of it is enormous.
Yeah.
Just the when we get new people in and they explain every little intricate detail of the squat with these big terms, and I'm like, dude, just tell them their butt goes up and down.
Yeah.
It's stupid simple.
Right.
It's funny, but yeah, like just meeting from being around you a little bit, like you definitely seem like one of those people that if you're going to do it right, like this is just exudes out of you that if you're going to do it, you're going to do it right. So everything that you were saying there, that's all I could hear was just like, yeah, this just sounds like her. This just sounds
exactly.
That's great. But so what kept you interested in this stuff? Like why the fire? Was it were you breaking down a status quo? Were you just wanting to get big and strong, or maybe not big and strong? Maybe you or maybe you did. Did you ever have the schneck? Did you ever get like real hulky?
No, I don't think so. As much as I early on in my career actually was so I guess there's kind of a whole backstory here, is that I was a gymnast growing up. And so I was always very, very thin. And that was an identity that I held very close. I didn't realize even how closely I held on to that. And so
yeah.
What was that?
I don't think most girls do. And I don't think most guys like really acknowledge the body image thing. Like
yeah.
that they even have this idea in their head. But
right.
anyway, keep going.
No, it's fine. So when I started, the reason I started working out, unfortunately, was because I had gained weight after quitting gymnastics and I wanted to lose weight. And so it definitely wasn't a like, oh, I want to get so strong. And luckily it became that. And now that's all I want to do is get strong. And I don't care if I put on 5 pounds of muscle, like that's awesome. But in the beginning, I definitely was trying to be smaller. And that was unfortunate because it actually, my training, reflected that. And I tried to I was on the cardio machines all the time. I was running every day and I was doing the things that I thought were going to help me lose weight and make me smaller. And instead I should have been training to be bigger because that actually is what actually helped me get smaller. So as a lot of women don't know, strength training actually puts on muscle, but then increases your metabolism, helps you to actually lose weight in the long run. So.
Yeah. That's I try to dumb it down to if you eat excess calories, you gain muscle. If you lift, and if you don't lift and you eat excess calories, you get fat. And if you eat too few calories, you won't keep you're probably not going to lose your fat, but you'll lose your muscle. And if you do lift, you're going to keep your muscle. Right. I don't know if anybody actually understands that, but
that's a good breakdown. I like that. Yeah.
I hope it gets through to somebody someday, but. So tell me about strength. Why is strength so important to you? Like, why is it important to general population also?
Yeah. So, well, that also goes back to gymnastics too, where we were all really strong. And so growing up, I was always able to do like the presidential fitness tests were like my favorite day in gym class because I was able to do pull-ups and I was able to do push-ups and I was really proud of that. And then for a while there, I really lost that. And I lost that fire to be strong, and because I was so focused on being thin that I forgot how good it felt to be strong. And when I started strength training again, I was like, oh my gosh, this fire is back. Like this feels so good, and you feel so powerful, and you feel independent. Like all these feelings come back that you forget you had when you were a kid, because a lot of girls have that. You see the fire in little girls that are like pulling themselves up and climbing around, and they're doing such a good job, and then they, society kind of breaks them down and they lose that, and it's really fun to regain it.
Yeah, totally. Some of the most fun I've had in my career is training well, they're all in college now, but they were 11 when they started, and now they're in their first and second years of college, which is really interesting. But seeing them grow and get stronger than most of the boys in their school was just a really cool experience for me. I mean, I think that they thought that I was teaching them stuff, but I was definitely learning more from them than I think they ever learned from me, which is probably too accurate to be true. But as far as like lifting between males and females, what is there a difference? Do you train them differently? And like, what are your thoughts on that?
We don't train. Our gym is exactly 50-50 male, female, and we don't train anyone any differently. We really don't. Everyone goes through the same progressions. Everyone starts with a bodyweight squat and then learns how to do a kettlebell squat and then a, barbell front squat. And we just go through the same progressions like anyone else, but there's no like limit that we put on our women because they are absolutely capable of being just as strong.
That's what I think too. Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's a little silly to think that like there are differences between males and females, obviously, but like that you're going to train them drastically different is a little bit of an absurd idea. And it's almost like oh, let's give you some pity points.
Yeah.
It's like, don't need them.
I guess it also is like, when people say that, I feel like the difference is like men should be trained. They're like, if you train people differently, it's like, oh, well, the guys should train to be big and strong and powerful, and the girls should train to be skinny and thin and frail. And that's just the least empowering thing I've ever heard. Like, so I'm like, no, all the women should be just as strong, should be striving for the same things.
Yeah, it's a little silly. Yeah, it's totally absurd. And like, if you go to, I steer clear of commercial gym spaces most of the time, but like if you were to walk into them, that's the image that you would, or that's the idea that you would get, is all that machismo, macho bullshit going on in the weight section. And then you have all the females that are like basically pushed out by all the dudes being pissed at them for being in their space. And they're over on the cardio machines doing their thing with their pink dumbbells, and nothing against pink dumbbells, just, it's all just.
They don't know better either. Like nobody has either taught them, or everything that they're seeing in magazines is all that stuff. So, One of my proudest moments most recently was I've been training a high school girl for a while, and she just graduated and she went off to college, and she asked me if I could FaceTime with her yesterday. And I was like, yeah, of course. And she wanted to just tell me that she went to the gym and that she was in the weight room, and she was like, it was all guys, but I deadlifted and I bench pressed, and she was so proud and she felt awesome. And she was like, they were all looking at me, but I think they were impressed. And it was just really, yeah, it was really cool.
They probably were. Yeah, they definitely probably were. So, well, tell us a little bit about how'd you get started in your career? How did, or like, where has your career gone since you got started?
Yeah, so Jason and I worked together for another 6 years in different spaces. So we did a little bit of time in a commercial gym, a little time in a personal training studio. And then like 6 years into it, we decided to open our own facility. And that was really based on the idea that we felt like all the spaces, like you were kind of saying with the commercial gym, all the spaces that we had been in so far just didn't emote this feeling of like, welcoming, supportive environments. Like they were all very intimidating. They were all very scary to walk into as somebody who wasn't already comfortable in the gym. And those weren't the people who are comfortable in the gym, like, great, go do your thing. That's awesome. Keep going. I want to reach the people who are scared to walk into the gym.
Yes.
And so we wanted to create a space that welcomed those people. Yeah,
I completely agree. Like the way that I say, like even when I started Great Gym, I was one of the first, like in my life, I just never really felt like I belonged anywhere. So for me, I wanted to create a space that felt that people could come to feel safe, that they felt welcome, and they felt like they could express and explore who they really are while in that space. I just think lifting is this great medium. It's very do or do not. You know, you're going to lift this thing, or you're not going to lift this thing, and it's this great thing for, because you look at it, like you've seen it. Someone looks at a weight and they're like, that's impossible. I'll never lift that weight. 6 months later, they're picking up, 30 pounds heavier than that weight that they originally said was impossible. So it, like, you just continue to prove possible over and over and over again. I'm really throwing the air quotes out today. I don't know why.
It's good. No, it's so true. And we see the same thing all the time. And a lot of the people who come in will say, like, my worst nightmare was gym class. Those are the people that they're like, they have had these horrible experiences where they were so embarrassed by their physical abilities because they weren't jocks and they weren't athletes. And so what can we do to get those people just to get moving, just get them moving? And so that has been our biggest thing right now is like, let's keep it really simple early on, like not intimidate anyone, where nobody's touching a barbell until they've been at the gym for like 6 months at least. Because unless obviously they come in and they're an advanced lifter, but for the most part, we really ease people in.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. One of the things I try to make really clear is how intimidating the racks can seem up front. You got these big white racks and they're thick and there's this bar on top, and everybody's like, oh my God, I'm going to have to do that. Like, like nobody walks into those things until they're ready for it. And you see a lot of that kind of stuff. And you mentioned progressions earlier. How do you do progressions? What do you look for so that people that are going to watch this and they're going to see this, like, how do they know where to start?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So we usually put people on pretty much 4 to 5 week training cycles. So they're doing the same 2 to 3 workouts every week for 4 to 5 weeks. And that is, we used to, and early on we didn't know that. We learned that from all those mentors that we had, but early on we used to just write whatever workout we thought would be great for that day. And turns out that doesn't really help many people get stronger. You can't do that. It doesn't work. So we start, and then phase 1, like almost everybody who comes into Achieve does the same phase 1, which is really setting a foundation. So they learn wall marching, which is like a dead bug variation where you learn how to control your rib cage and your pelvis and like start to get some trunk stability. And you learn how to squat with your own body weight and do it properly, and TRX rows and push-ups at an incline if they can't quite do them on the floor. So very basic, almost all body weight, or like maybe holding a dumbbell for a squat if you progress to that.
Cool.
And they do that for 4 weeks. A lot of people are like, this is starting to feel really easy. And we're like, don't worry, it'll get hard. But we want to make sure that foundation is there.
Yeah. No, I just said, don't worry, you're going to hate me later. Like,
right.
It starts to get hard, but keep going.
Yeah, so what's really nice too is when they're going through that though, they see all the people in the gym who are doing obviously clearly more advanced things, and we're like, that person, like we can point someone out who's in the squat rack and be like, that person did your workout that you're doing right now 2 years ago. And that's the reason that they're able to do all these amazing things, because they set this. So yeah, we have that all pretty much. Phase 1 is pretty much all the same. And then from there, we progress people based on what we see. So our coaches are in charge of taking notes on the programs and letting us know, letting the programmers know if they're ready for, like somebody might have been killing it on squats and like they got up to a 50-pound dumbbell in their first phase. So we're going to move them right onto a double kettlebell front squat, something like that. Whereas somebody else might have gone through just bodyweight squats for their first phase. So the next phase we'll just add a 10-pound dumbbell. And so we just communicate with our coaches and with the people that we're training to kind of figure out how to steer the rest of the programming.
Awesome. I love that. Like that's a lot like how we do it too. We have a general template basically that is based off of your progression and regressions.
Yeah.
I don't like calling them that. Like,
yeah, I know there should be better words. It's just like,
I've never come up with a good one, because like you say regression, everybody shuts down.
like, oh,
you know,
yeah.
it's like this real downer moment, and you say progression, and it's like, wait, what, why would it? So they're like these terrible words, or like even, I don't know, I've even used different words like just to change the program, and they're like, well, why do I have to be doing something different? Like what's wrong? You know, and it's just such an easy place for people to go to that not good enough space, but yeah. But yeah, that's how I do it too. Like everybody needs some foundational movement to figure out like where is appropriate for them to go,
right.
And then starting them out at an extremely conservative place. Because I mean, if you start someone out way too heavy for them, what do? You get them hurt,
right?
Yeah.
Or like we used to be like, okay, well, we have to impress them right off the bat, right? So you want to give them all your crazy stuff. Like I can do all this cool, I can get you to do all these cool things, but that it's not actually helpful for them. And so you have to like check your ego and be like, as long as I'm the professional, like they trust me, they hired me to do this, I'm going to give them the right way to do it. And they will trust you so much more if they see that you're like, if they were like, this is too easy, and you're like, that's fine. I know it's easy, but it's fine. It will get harder, but this is what we need to do right now. They'll trust you more.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. Why would you start out like first exercise the first day, it's going to be Turkish get up. It's like, well, yeah. let's beat them down and get them feeling real defeated. Right.
Exactly.
So that they'll feel like a winner later.
No, doesn't work like that.
No, doesn't seem to work very well. But so how do you get people started? What do you do before they actually get going? Like, how do you make them feel welcome?
Oh yeah, so we try to do a lot with social media, and like that's sort of been a big thing for us right now, is putting out more videos on Facebook and putting out some like simple like posts on Instagram that are just kind of more educational, but also showing that we try to sprinkle in little bits and pieces here that are like, it's really important to like be a part of something that's really welcoming and really supportive. And here's how like we end our classes with a high five train, and here are 2 members hugging each other, and like just kind of show what we're about in our social media presence. And then when they contact us, we do a strategy session with them, and basically they meet with a coach, and the coach goes over like health history, injury history, goals, all those kind of standard questions. Oh, cool. And then we do like a tour of the gym. Well, we do a physical assessment, an FMS, and a couple other assessments, and then a tour of the gym. And the tour is really talking about the community feel. We're not like, this is the bathroom and this is the like squat rack. Like they don't care. They want to know like, how am I going to be treated while I'm here? How are other people going to interact with me? Should I wear headphones, or should I be like talking to people? And so we really just set the stage for, this is exactly what a day at Achieve is going to be like. And we just take them around and introduce them to members that are there, they're always like, oh, hey, you should join. This is a great place. Like they sell it for us. So yeah, just trying to get them the whole experience. Yeah,
no, I completely agree. That's drastically similar. A few little changes. Like I think just naturally, Grit Gym has kind of become the introverts gym. Like I'm very introverted outside of social media. I think most people are surprised to hear that, but like 30% of our gym is probably, if you've done the Myers-Briggs, is an INFP. Like I'm an INFP, like introvert. I think intuition, feeling, perception, I think is what it is. But INFPs only make up like 2% of the population.
Oh, wow.
So it's kind of interesting that like almost like this massive portion of Grit Gym is all INFPs or INFJ.
I'm an ENFP, so I'm actually close to you guys. I just
You're an ENFP? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, like all NFs are extreme idealists, right? Like just we just want the best for everybody. Yeah. INFPs don't exactly exude that all the time because we're too busy being shy, but but we mean it deep down.
I believe
that. What are some things that people need to know before walking into any gym? When you were talking there, I couldn't help but think like, what's the person that's watching this right now? That's like, I'd like to go to a gym, but I don't know what to wear. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to call. I don't know what to say. What do I do? What do they do to get themselves past that point of doing
a barrier for themselves? Yeah. I think that one of the main things to reiterate to yourself is that everybody in the gym is most likely concerned about their own stuff. Like just like you're worried about people looking at you, they're worried about the same thing. And to just be like, you know what, it doesn't matter if you're like having a bad hair day, like just get in the gym and just go, because moving is going to be better than not moving at all. And so just go. And I would say it's okay to, like, we talk a lot about technical stuff, like this is the best way to train. But if you can just go into the gym and start walking on a treadmill, like, I think that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I think if you can just walk through the doors and start getting comfortable, that's the number one thing. And if you can find a place that has great coaches and that has a welcoming community, I mean, obviously that's what to look for. So try to go on Yelp or Facebook and try to find the places that actually express that they have that. But if you don't have access to that, just go somewhere and start moving in some way that feels a little more comfortable to you, a little more in your comfort zone. And then eventually you'll start to venture off into maybe you'll go pick up a dumbbell, and then maybe you'll go take a class, and you'll start to get more comfortable.
I completely agree. Yeah, just doing something, just like if you never take a step, then you're never going to go. So like if you just push yourself out, and even if all you did was walk in the door and walk out the door, hey, you took that's still a step. You know, now let's up our game and go get on a treadmill. Now let's up our game and do something else, and then and just keep on. And then maybe you hire a coach someday, and then maybe you just keep on leveling up until you get to where you want to go. Yeah, I completely agree.
Totally. But I think that like knowing, like having the understanding that like people aren't really looking at you, they're not really judging you. Like I think that everyone's really worried, and especially there's so much stuff unfortunately on Facebook. Like I hate when I see like the gym fail videos and people are just like taking videos of other people doing things wrong in the gym, and I'm like, that they're going to be that person that's going to be on that video. Like those things are what make the gym so intimidating for people. And I think we need to do a better job as a society of just like stopping that, just trying to stop making fun of people and start building each other up. But
yeah, I put a post up the other day that because right now there's this iPhone stuff, like everybody in the fitness industry, or not, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people in the fitness industry are like shaming the people who won't go get a gym membership, but they'll go drop $1,000 on the iPhone. And you have the other people that are shaming the shamers. And I'm like, what are you? If you shame the shamer for shaming, like, what does that make you? Like, what's going on? Yeah.
That's really funny. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're spot on about the insecurity thing. Like, when you feel insecure, you feel afraid, or that like everybody else seems like they have all their shit together. Mm-hmm. But they really don't. They have the same fears and the same thing that you have. Like everybody's got it. Nobody is exempt from this. I'm sure Lauren, I'm sure Adam, I'm sure everybody has their little knick-knack things that they can pick on themselves about, or that they're insecure about, or like it happens all the time. And I don't care, the most confident, like the person that exudes the most confidence and I don't know, assertiveness and all these like admirable qualities, I guess, maybe. They still have fears down deep too. They're just putting on a good front. But yeah. Any other? Where do they follow you, Lauren?
The best place probably is Instagram. That's where I hang out the most. So I'm Lauren Pak 22. That's my personal Instagram. But that's going to be a mix of just like my dog and my workouts, pretty much. And then our Achieve Instagram is Achieve Fitness Boston. And that's where we have a little more educational information out there, some more like videos of the gym and how things run. Everything like that.
Awesome. And what's the 22 for?
It's my favorite number.
Yeah?
It's my football number. I love it.
22 it is for Lauren Pak. Yeah. Any other words of wisdom, points of inspiration that you want to leave people with?
I would just say, like, the main thing for me is always reminding yourself that you're a lot more capable than you think. And so to continue to push yourself outside of your comfort zone, to continue to seek out new adventures and new things, and just remember that you have a lot more in you than you probably think. So. Yeah.
That's fantastic. All right. Well, Lauren, thanks for being on here today. You do really good at this, so we're gonna have to have you back sometime. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I loved it. I'm an extrovert, so I don't mind talking.
All right, we're gonna sign off, but thank you, Lauren, for being here. I really appreciate